Welcome back, everyone. This is GWR Studios. For today's episode, I'm going to be exposing some goofs in Thomas's train. I hope you enjoy.
Thomas the tank engine was grumbling to the other engines.
Alright, so the first goof in this episode is spotted shortly after Thomas puffs into the station. Thomas is unhappy because he doesn't get to pull passenger trains like the big engines. And here's where we see the first goof. Take a look at Thomas's face. At the bottom, we can see some sticky tack under his face. And seconds later, we can spot the next goof. Gordon can be seen teasing Thomas inside of the station. But at the beginning of the episode, Gordon was outside of the station. After being teased by the bigger engines, Thomas heads back to Tidmouth Sheds. At the sheds, we find out that Henry is feeling very ill. Now see if you can find the next goof.
Henry was ill. The men worked hard, but he didn't get better.
Did you see it? This workman's overalls are not completely painted on. The workmen worked on Henry for a long time, but they still couldn't make him feel better. At this point, Thomas realizes that Henry is probably too sick to pull his train.
If Henry is ill, he thought, perhaps I shall pull his train.
Although Thomas feels very sorry for Henry, he's very excited because he might get to pull Henry's train. And here comes the next goof.
Come along, he fussed.
Notice how high up the buffers are on this passenger car.
There's plenty of time,
Look how much lower the buffers are for Thomas. It appears they were lowered to work with Thomas's buffers.
time.
Oh, and another thing.
Fussed.
What is James doing at the station? He was just at Tidmouth Sheds when Thomas left.
Thomas took them to the platform and wanted to run round in front at once.
Thomas's coaches are in the wrong order. The brake coach should be at the back, not the front.
But his driver wouldn't let him. Don't be impatient, Thomas.
Thomas waited a long time for Henry, but he never showed up. The passengers were getting impatient. And take a look at this. When the porter shuts this door, you can see camera equipment in the reflection.
Thomas got more and more excited.
Eventually, Sir Topham Hatt finds out about the situation, and he orders for a new engine to be found.
Find another engine, he ordered. There's only Thomas, they said. You'll have to do it then, Thomas.
Thomas is so excited. He's going to pull his very first train. He was so excited that his eyes became wonky.
Thomas ran round to the front and back down on the coaches ready to start.
Thomas can hardly contain his excitement. His driver tells him to calm down, but he just won't listen. He's just so excited that he's going to pull the train. Because Thomas was so anxious to leave the station, they never got a chance to couple him up to the train cars. As a result, Thomas leaves the station thinking that he's pulling the train, but in reality, the train cars are still at the station.
Men waved and shouted, but he didn't stop.
Now here comes the next goof. When Thomas is puffing down the line, thinking that he's pulling the passenger train, we see a close-up of him, but take a look at his wheels. The wheels are going at a different pace compared to the background. Don't believe me? Moments later, after Thomas goes past the crossing, the background is still moving at the same speed, but Thomas's wheels are going very fast.
It's nice of them to wave, and he whistled. Peep!
The boy in the blue sweater was at Knapford Station moments ago.
Thank you.
Finally, Thomas comes to a stop after running into a signal.
What a nuisance signals are.
After Thomas stops, a signalman comes up to him and asks,
What are you doing here?
Thomas, of course, replies, I'm pulling a passenger train. And then, the moment of truth.
Where are your coaches then? Thomas looked back. Why, bless me, he said, if we haven't left them behind.
At last, Thomas realizes that he left the passenger cars behind. So he goes back to Knapford Station, feeling pretty silly about himself.
They saw how sad he was.
But fortunately, they were able to hook up Thomas, and he was able to pull the train. But that's not the end of the goofs. When Thomas leaves Knapford Station, take a look at Thomas's rear buffers and the front of the passenger car. Look how big the gap is between the buffers. Just moments ago, we saw the buffers right beside each other, but a few seconds later, there's this humongous gap. At the end of the episode, the other engines tease Thomas for leaving his coaches behind, and this is where I spotted the last goof. Shortly after Thomas comes to a stop, we see Henry leave Knapford Station, pulling 3 coaches, but he's missing a brake coach. And there you have it, folks. Those were all the goofs that I found in Thomas's train. I feel like I found most of the goofs in this episode, but as always, if you found a goof that I didn't spot out, please leave a comment and let me know. Be sure to stay tuned for more goof videos every week. Thanks for watching and have a great day.